Welcome everyone to Kenna's Corner. I've got 2 guests, and as you can see, well, some of you might just be listening. We're actually recording this one with a camera as well. So we're starting the YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
And really glad that you guys can be here to experience this breakthrough.
One of a kind.
Thanks for having us.
So you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Coleman, go.
All right. I'm Coleman. Last name? Coleman Vickers. There you go. For now,
now the whole world can find you.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all the introduction you need, I guess. I'm kind of cool. That's it.
I'm Coleman's friend. My name is Peyton Graham. Like the cracker, and yes, I am white. Those of you who are not watching and just listening, I'm sorry. But yeah, Coleman and I are good friends, and we're just so happy to be here.
They practically begged to be on the podcast. I was like, fine.
Essentially, yeah.
It's just too good of an opportunity to pass up, honestly.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about dating because everyone likes dating podcasts, right? At least I do.
What a good topic.
So, specifically, we're going to dive into some deal breakers and then some green flags, right? Some good deal makers, you might say. So, I know you guys kind of brainstormed some ideas. I thought of some. But what do you think is like number 1 deal breaker for you guys?
Like in top of the list, or just kind of like one of them?
Okay, either way, whatever you're feeling.
I mean, a big one for me is I'm a big Marvel guy. Oh. So sometimes, like, she's got to be able to watch Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. Even if she doesn't like them, just because she knows I do.
Okay.
That's a big deal maker for me, I
So
guess.
what if she's never seen them but is willing to watch them? That's fine?
That's like a deal maker. But if she's like, no, I'm like...
You're like, yeah, we're done.
That's a little rough, not gonna lie.
Immediately break up.
Immediately over.
Marvel's good. I will say though, I'm behind because they make them so fast now.
That is true.
That I can't keep up.
That's fair.
But I have seen all the Spider-Mans.
That's most important.
I feel like is most girls, right? Because Tom Holland.
Yeah, I'd date him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would too.
Yeah.
I would too. If we're talking about Tom Holland. All right, you?
Deal breaker for me. I do also like Marvel, but it's not like one of my priorities per se. I think one of the things that's most unattractive to me is laziness.
Ooh.
Especially being dirty.
That is true.
Like, if they don't know how to clean up after themselves. Mm-hmm. But this is, like, really hard, if not impossible, to kind of pick up on.
A little bit.
On, like, when you first meet.
Yeah, that would be later.
I mean, kind of take it with a grain of salt. But, like, if you just, like, pick up on, like, the whole lazy vibe, like, I'm just, like, turned off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Would you say, like, if you were in a relationship and then you find out that she's kind of lazy and messy, would you end it? Like, is that like really a deal breaker?
You might have to have a couple of
like see if
really
she's willing
talks.
To change.
Yeah, if she's like willing to change.
Yeah.
And I understand if I ask someone to like clean up after themselves and not be lazy, then I have to hold that to myself, right? Yeah. But
have you had really messy roommates?
I have.
Yeah. That's tough.
It causes contention.
Yeah, it really does.
But if you just clean up after yourself, then like you can live at peace. So
I was always like, okay, if you're like running late for a class and you have to leave some dishes, that's fine. But like eventually that day, please clean it up, right? I just feel like that's considerate.
That is true.
But so kind of, yeah, so not messy, not lazy. Anything else with like the lazy? Because I feel like if they have no aspirations in their life, that's also a sign of like laziness.
Like for me, like kind of a big one is like work ethic. Like if she's got a really hardworking personality, it's very attractive because you know like you won't have to worry about, hey, you should probably do this, right? You should probably study for your classes. Yeah. Or, you should probably, it like all carries over. So it's a very attractive when they do have that.
When I was just a little baby 18-year-old McKenna.
Oh, yeah.
I was in a relationship, and I was totally willing to just, like, not go to class so I could hang out with him, you know? Yeah. And then one day he was like, you should really go to class because, like, that's why we're here. And I was like, you're right. I felt so bad. But I think having someone encouraging you to work hard is good, too.
That is true.
Because I wasn't trying to just be lazy, but I guess my priority was not in my education at the time.
That's fair.
Hey, you're committed though.
Hey,
100%.
I was committed.
So, there's something.
Okay, any other deal breakers?
Ooh.
Because I can share one.
You go.
Okay.
I don't think you have.
So when someone is really conceited and they think, okay, I'll just give an example. There was this one person, I heard a story, I didn't hear it myself, but he was like, I'm a straight 10 and like all the ladies love me, you know? And it's one thing when they're joking about it, like especially when they're with their bros and they're just like, I'm a straight 10. And everyone's like, yeah, you are. Okay, but he was serious. So good to have confidence, but like for me, if they really truly do feel that way about themselves and I think they get all the ladies, it's a straight deal breaker. I'm like, nope, I will not even give you a date.
The time of day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You gotta have some humility.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
I mean, easier said than done.
Yeah. You're like, I've
Absolutely.
definitely said that. I'm actually talking about Peyton.
Sorry,
I'm just kidding.
I wasn't going to say it.
Coleman just hypes me up.
Right, that's fine. That situation's fine. But if you truly do feel that way, you're conceited. So that's my deal breaker.
Okay.
Or just one example.
Okay.
Oh, I have another one.
Okay.
It's when the woman thinks that the man does everything for her.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, like super high maintenance and expects like chivalry and everything, like super important, like stand
but like
to
she
that.
can't do anything for herself.
But like she can't do anything for herself, and also she's not willing to put forth any effort back. Because like I hate the whole 90%, 10% effort.
Yeah.
It's relationship is a team effort, right?
Yeah.
So it better be closer to 50-50.
Yeah. I agree, for sure.
Yeah, that's just a major turnoff.
So you don't necessarily have to share like specifics if you don't want to, especially if they're listening, like the exes, right? I'm just kidding. Hey. But how did that affect the relationship whenever you were the one giving 90?
I mean, it definitely depends in the relationship and at different times. Like one person will be going through a hard time and that's when the other person kind of steps in and helps. Luckily, I've had decent exes. I've had good ones. But like more often than not, I feel like I'm putting in more of the effort.
Yeah.
Which is like fine because I'm a tryhard, as what people would call me as a tryhard.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I hope that there's like some effort and some drive from the other side. It doesn't have to be over the top, obviously, but just like some
effort,
appreciated.
I actually had a friend, because I'm the same way, where I give like 100% sometimes and they give like 0, maybe not that much, 90, 10.
Yeah.
And I had a friend say like, okay, that's your personality to give more, and that's fine, but maybe it should be more like 70-30 or 60-40 instead of 90-10. You know, so I'm trying to think of that now when I go into relationships. Like, yeah, I can give more because that is my personality. But if they're not giving like hardly anything, deal breaker.
And I would say that carries over to the romantic side. For me personally, like it's a huge green flag when I'm not the one putting all the moves out. Yeah. Right. Like if she's like grabs my hand out of nowhere, oh man, like I'm done. Like it's like
deal made.
Deal made. Like. You know, like, of course I'm always down to make the first move, but sometimes it's very attractive when, you know, they go for stuff too. So
ladies, pay attention.
That's what's
That's interesting you guys say that, because in a past podcast I recorded about dating, I asked them, like, can the girl make the first move? And they were like, yes, but I think we would be a little freaked out because it doesn't happen very often.
See, personal experience, it's happened to me before, and sometimes, like, I've been like, okay, because then I pick up. I'm like, oh, man. Like, they're into me. Yeah. But at the same time, sometimes I'm like, oh,
I'm not into that.
I should have done that, you know? Like, it doesn't matter, but at the same time, sometimes, like, I don't know, guys it's been put that we have the responsibility to make the first move. Yeah. But in my, like, me personally, I don't care as much. So
if she has that confidence to make a move, that's...
Green flag.
Green flag, for sure.
Attractive.
But please read the body language. Do not just go for it. Don't just send it.
That goes both ways, guys and girls.
Yes, it does.
If the girl's like this, she doesn't want to hold your hand.
Yeah, seriously. Crossed arms, not about it.
Not about it. Probably same with guys, right?
Well, yeah.
You cross the arms? Oh, you put the hands in the pockets.
It's like the hands in the pockets. Not really paying
guys are a little easier to read. Yeah, I think.
I think so too. Yeah. Girls are really confusing, and we confuse ourselves. I hope you know that. Wow. Half the time, we don't know what we're feeling either. Okay. Another deal breaker for me is when they put you down. They're always saying, and that's like, I feel like it's obvious, but there are so many girls that are in, and maybe guys too, that are in toxic relationships. They don't realize it. But if the person is constantly putting you down and never like building you up. Not that they have to compliment you every second, but they notice the good qualities about you and they say it rather than like, oh, you always do this wrong or stop doing this. So I was in a relationship back in like high school, so immature anyway, right? And I was going into college, going to be studying music. And one time I was just singing and he's like, stop singing, you're not even good.
Oh,
crushed my heart.
Oh, that's rough.
That's not good. That should have been a deal breaker, but I stayed way too long.
Oh man.
So that's one for me.
Definitely.
Oh
you have any more?
That's rough. I think there's a fine line.
Yeah.
Like you can like joke around.
Joke around. That's funny. Yeah.
Okay, but girls, pay attention to this. If you don't want him to put you down, stop laughing.
Yeah.
If you laugh when he puts you down and you laugh, all you do is feed the ego.
Yeah.
I was speaking from personal experience. That's how I am. If someone laughs at my jokes, I'm probably going to do the same thing, right?
Because you're like, oh, she's flattered by it. You don't think she's offended by it. And
but then,
yeah. But then she actually is.
Yeah, just don't laugh.
Yeah.
It's very easy to fix.
Be nice, have humor, but like, just be considerate.
Be considerate. That's true. I'm definitely a pity laugher. Not even pity. I just think like most things are funny. Like it's not even pity because I actually think it's funny. But maybe back then, because I was so young, maybe I did laugh. And then he was like, okay, cool. I'll just keep putting her down. That's a good point. Maybe it was my fault.
Who knows?
Who knows?
At this point.
Okay, I know, as we were planning this podcast, there was a specific deal breaker that you mentioned, and that was flaky girls.
Oh, man.
Also, I'm worried you're not in the camera.
I'll scoot over.
I don't have cooties.
All right, listen, this goes for both genders, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Flaking out is just such a lame excuse, I feel like. Because I feel like most, like our generation especially, it's so easy to just text someone, I'm sorry.
Can't make it.
I can't make it.
Uh-huh.
Like, you're going to hate me, but I won't be able to make it.
Yeah.
Or it's like, just like call them, talk to them. And honestly, like, it's just because I've been in that situation. I was literally like in a situation where I texted this girl like in the morning, like, hey, are you still down to hang out? And I don't get a text back until like 30 minutes before the date. And it's like, hey, I'm so sorry. I have a migraine.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand that happens sometimes, but at the same time, the way that it felt, like not letting me know so soon.
Yeah, it's like very last second.
Oh my gosh, right? And before that, she was like, I'm so sorry, I just saw this, right?
Or the classic line that's fake.
I was talking to my roommates, like, I was like, I hope you're having fun. I'm like, you can still come. An hour later, sorry, I just saw this. And it's
she
just
definitely
like,
saw it.
Disrespect.
Such a big turnoff because I'm just like, man, like, just talk to me about it. Be mature. Be adult.
Because if she really didn't want to go, she should have just said instead of. I mean, maybe it was real, but I'll be honest. Girls make excuses sometimes that are fake. Not me.
I will throw in my life theory right here.
Yeah, let's hear it.
If they wanted to, they would. So I live by that sometimes in that way because if they wanted to, they would. If they wanted to text you really early in advance and tell you they couldn't make it, they would.
Yeah, for me, if I do ever have to cancel, because I also do not like when people are flaky, and I've had friends that are that way. So it goes with like friendships too, not even just like dating. I've had friends that are like every time, oh, sorry, actually, last minute. I'm like, we made all these plans. I took work off or whatever it is.
Seriously.
But if I do ever have to cancel, then I'm like, but let's plan for the next time because I think that shows I do want to hang out with you, but I actually do have a migraine.
Seriously.
So how about tomorrow or the next day, right? Try to get that return appointment.
Sure. Exactly.
I'm a missionary.
Perfect.
Yeah. How do you feel about flaky women?
Luckily, I haven't had horrible experiences with flaky women. Usually it's been with guys and with friends.
Guys.
Really? Yes.
Coleman?
No. Coleman.
I'm just kidding.
I'm like usually pretty good.
All the women listening, Coleman is very loyal.
They're single.
Yes, we are both single, by the way. But no, I just think as a friend, just be honest. If you don't want to go, tell me straight up.
Yeah.
Don't tell me 5 minutes before that you're not going to make it, because then I wasted all the time planning or preparing in mental hopes that you'll be there.
Yeah.
Because everyone has like an emotional bank account, and if you keep flaking around, or like flaking, I don't know the right term.
I kind of like that.
if you keep flaking, you're constantly just slowly withdrawing, and then maybe like a year from now, you're not going to have any friends.
It's true.
If I invite you to 10 things and you flake 10 times, the chances of me inviting you again is probably 0. So just, like, the truth hurts. Just tell me if you don't want to go. Like, that's fine. I understand.
Yeah.
But, like, just please be honest.
Be honest.
Going off of that a little bit, I feel like sometimes, too, people might do that because they're like, I don't really know what the situation is.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're like,
about it.
I'm a little nervous. But the way I explain it sometimes with dating as well is dating is kind of like you're going in an ice cream shop, right? And you're trying all the different flavors.
Yeah.
Right? Seeing what you like. But if you never walk out of the ice cream shop with a flavor you like, what's the point of going in the ice cream shop and trying all the flavors, right? So you have to
give it
be
a
like,
chance.
Yeah, exactly. You have to like be willing to put yourself out there and then as well be able to learn from like everything that you're doing, obviously.
And if they really are nervous about the situation, they should just ask the person, can you give me a little more information about what we're doing?
Yeah,
because I'm kind of nervous. I'll be straight up. Or like, oh, we've never really like hung out before.
Yeah.
I don't know you super well yet. I'm nervous. Like, maybe you could be like, could we make it a double date?
Exactly.
Communicate, people.
Just communicate.
That is why my major is communications.
That is what
it's for flaky women. I'm just kidding.
I'm here to help you, lady.
Okay, I have a story, actually, about when I was a flaky woman. So I hope you'll forgive me.
We'll see.
Evidence
back when I was yes, back when I was 18. Seriously, so many stories from when I was 18. There was this guy that I met at a dance. And he asked for my number, and I was like, oh, okay, he was really cute. And then we were texting, and he's like, hey, I'd really like to call you. When are you free for a call? And I knew he was going to ask me on a date. I'm like, oh, that's so polite of him to, like, want to call, but I was nervous because I'm like, I met him one time. Like, what if he's all clingy and weird? So I was like, yeah, you can call me at this time. And then I would be like, so sorry, I just saw this like an hour later, but I definitely saw it. Man. And I just kept flaking on when he could call me. So finally, you know what he did? He's like, well, could I walk you home from one of your classes? And I was like, he must have put forth effort. Okay. So I was like, fine, I'll let you walk me home. And then it worked out. And that was the guy that I was dating that I told earlier.
There you go.
So
if they wanted to,
they would. He was persistent, but I didn't deserve that, to be honest. I was flaky. But yeah, definite, like, I was just nervous. So that is probably the reason why she's flaky, or she's just unreliable and red flag.
The red flag, big one.
Big one. Okay, that was yours. I think it's your turn. New deal breaker.
Oh, new deal breaker? Actually, can I add a question?
Oh, yeah.
Just out of, like, personal curiosity. So I'm, like, kind of new to the whole casual dating thing. So let's say I get asked out on a date.
Yeah.
Right, hypothetically, like, if that ever happens. And then, so, like, I don't necessarily, I like this person as a friend, and I'm pretty sure that's, like, how the date's going to go. Yeah. And that's how the date goes, right? Let's say multiple have happened.
Yeah.
And then, how does the communication continue after the first date? I personally have no idea what to do. I don't want to text them and be like, hey, I'm not looking for anything, like, serious. Like, after the first
date, they were like, yeah, neither was I.
Who the freak are you? I just started hang out.
Yeah.
But I don't. But then if, like, you don't respond, is that, like, ghosting? I don't want to be, like, a horrible person. It's just, like, I'm really uncomfortable after that, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But I, like, want to keep the friendship.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That is a good question.
When is it too soon to say, I'm not interested that way? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, go on that first date and just be chill and hang out, and then kind of see what happens after that. If she's still, like, pursuing you, like, do you want to go on another date? Then I think it's obvious she's more, like, into you and wants to date you. Then you can be like, you know, I just see you as a friend, but we can keep hanging out. But maybe she was just like, yeah, I just want to go on, like, casual dates, and not many people ask me, so, like, she asks you, right? Then I think you can kind of see how it goes afterwards. I don't think you have to put pressure on yourself to keep something going that you don't want to keep going. Does that make sense? Is that answering your question? I don't know. Yeah.
I think so.
So maybe see what happens after. Because I think it could go different
And, like,
ways.
After the date, like, that night, I usually always send a text. Be like
hey,
thank you so much for the date.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like, guys, like, and girls, like, show some appreciation. Like, thank them for the time and effort and or money if it was used, like, into the date. I think it helps a lot.
Definitely.
It does. because this is a really random topic, but it is a big like deal breaker sometimes when like one time I went on this date, right? And I dropped $14 to get some shakes and ice cream, or like shakes and fries, and we were just eating there. Like, it was like a good shake place. Yeah. Like they were like good stuff. That's why it was so expensive. But like we're sitting there talking, and she didn't touch it once.
No.
Once. And then she didn't even say thank you for the date after. Like, no goodbye. That's another one.
Wait,
like,
she didn't eat anything.
If there's not even, like, a goodbye hug or, like, a thank you so much. Like, usually I was always taught growing up, like, just give them a hug when you're done, right?
Right.
None of that. Didn't even touch the food. Didn't give me a hug. Was just like, cool, like, this was fun.
That's so
See ya.
weird.
And I was like, oh, my God.
Like a single tear.
All I'm saying is she didn't get asked out again. But, like, it was just such a big, like, red flag for me. Because I was just, like, not appreciative. Like, they don't understand, like, yeah, that was, like, $14. And I know it's just $14, but at the same time,
that's
it's
$14.
Like, that can go a long way sometimes, you know?
Gas these days.
Especially that.
Oh, yeah. I have one more deal breaker that came to mind. If you're on a date and she's always on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Guys included.
Oh,
it's
man.
not just women. But if they, like, cannot, like, go without their phone and focus on you as a person. Like, even having your phone... Like out on the freaking table when you're talking to someone.
And then it lights up and they're like...
This is a subconscious message, Coleman.
That you don't mean anything.
This is more important than you.
Yeah. Exactly.
I could be talking to you, like we can have eye contact, but just seeing this here shows that this is more important than you. So I think that's like a red
I will
flag.
say a deal breaker for me, it didn't used to be, but because of bad experience, overuse of video games, kind of along with that. I think video games can be fun. And, like, especially if you play them together, right, at, like, a group thing, or it's just, like, a small hobby. But when it's, like, you're staying up until 4 a.m. playing video games, and then, or you're missing events of your significant other because you're playing video games, or you're trying to, like, talk to each other on the phone, and you're telling a story, and they're like, wait, what? Because they're playing video games. That's when I think it's a problem, and it's affecting the relationship. Because I think video games are fine, but yeah, when it's like that.
It just goes back to, you know, like what you're putting your attention on.
Yeah, what's the priority?
They're just right there. Because that's also a big, like, green flag for me, is when they're willing to spend quality time over, like, doing anything else, you know? Like, it doesn't matter if you're, like, doing that kind of stuff, but as long as you're engaged in it together. Like totally what you said. Like, if you're both playing a game, but they're, like, totally focused on you. Or, like, if you're like, hey, I just really need to text this person back really quick, like, and then you do it in front of them, I feel like that's okay.
Because they're communicating, hey, like, this is important really fast.
I'm not on my phone. I actually do need to, like, because, like, of course, like, right, like, I have the Apple Watch. I see something. If I'm gonna, like, oh, man, I really need to talk, like, about that, like, I'm gonna say, hey, 1 sec, please, right? And just do it together.
Together. Like, it's kind of a together thing.
Just acknowledge the fact, like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, you know, it's...
Then you know, like, okay, they don't usually do this. They are apologizing for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
So wise of Peyton.
I only have so much wisdom.
The dating master that he is.
Hey, coaches don't play.
That's what's up.
So what are some green flags where when you see it, you're like, dang, that's attractive? We've mentioned a couple, but...
Okay, can we just get, like, the baseline things out of the way?
Yeah.
So, like, smart, funny, attractive, like...
all of it,
like,
right?
Those
right
are baseline. Can we just all agree on those, everyone?
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
There you go.
Do you want to go first, Coleman? I have quite a few.
Like, for me personally, it's very attractive when... well, like I said, when she makes, like... When she's willing to make the first move, because then it shows, like, she also has interest as well. But
I think the term the kids say these days is sendy.
When she's a little sendy,
sendy.
She's not afraid to send it a couple times, you know? Yeah, that's always super fun. Very, like, a big, green flag, I think, is knowing when to do that as well. Because there's some girls that you'll be all hanging out as friends, and they're all over their boyfriend or, like, you know. And it's
I don't like
PDA. Guys, we're all single. Don't make us feel like that.
Yeah.
So, like, it's attractive when, like, people, well, especially, like, obviously when I'm looking for a woman, it's like when she knows that, right? Like, when we're hanging out with friends, like, we're not going to be all over each other.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, you know,
and she's okay, and she's not, like, all
and it's not like, oh my gosh, right?
Okay,
But then when it's us, like, of course, right? Like, you can do that stuff. So that's a big one for me.
Yep.
That's definitely huge. Yeah. I'm also a huge physical touch guy, but like if you're around other people, like keep it kosher.
It's awkward for everyone.
Please, for the love of all that is holy.
Yes. And then go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, the other day, this is absolutely horrible. I was in the library using one of the computers, and there was this couple next to me making out.
Yeah.
I'm like,
in the library.
Bruh, I am trying to do some accounting homework.
Please have some decency, please.
This dude picks her up and moves her over to the other chair. No. Like a princess. I'm like, I am a 21-year-old man at university, and I'm still seeing this crap outside of high school. PDA needs to stop.
PDA needs to stop.
Just like,
we're gonna start
it'd be different if it was me, but it's not. So please,
like someone hold me like a princess.
Just like kind of be considerate of others. Yeah. Like don't get in that public, tunnel vision of
like no one else is here.
Love.
Yeah, cringy.
It's cringy.
Or at church.
Oh, okay. That's...
When you're like, I remember I was sitting at church, looking ahead at whoever was speaking. There's a couple right in front of me just macking. Like, I can't even see anymore.
It's so bad.
It was so bad.
Especially those of you who are in YSAs. Please be normal at church.
Please be normal.
It's not fun for everyone
also,
else.
if you're the one speaking and you have to see all the PDA. Disgusting.
Nasty. Not worth it.
Don't get me wrong. Physical touch is one of my love languages too. But yeah, it's like there's a right time for it. And at church or in the library, it's just
like
not
I said.
the time.
It's why it's a green flag for me. If she knows when to
what's
do those
appropriate.
Things, when it's appropriate.
Yep. Okay.
Wait, what was the question? Was it green flags?
Green flags, yeah.
Okay. For me, I think it's definitely like ambition and goal driven.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm like a long-term minded person.
Yeah.
So like the person I'm dating, I'm like starting to think of the future, like potential outcomes and stuff. So like I want to be with someone who I could grow with, and if someone who's ambitious and hardworking, like Coleman was talking about. And if you have some goals, if you have some like freaking direction in your life, like that's really attractive.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Like no one knows what we're doing.
Yeah.
But if you at least like have a goal and you're like moving towards something, because I don't think you can have any positive emotion without a goal. If you're not working or progressing towards something, you're kind of just wasting life.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Sorry, that might have hurt some of you.
They like turn
figure out your life, gosh dang it.
Honestly, just like set a goal.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is.
It can be so small.
Set a single goal.
Yeah. One of my goals is to run a 10K. I don't know when it will happen, but
hey, it's a goal.
Because me and Peyton were just talking. I'm like, I think I have too many goals because I'm like, I'm starting a podcast and now it's gonna be on YouTube and I want to run a 10K. So maybe set realistic goals for yourself. But yeah, someone that's goal driven, I think that is really attractive. Like from a girl's standpoint too, is if the guy is like, oh, I don't really want to go to school. I don't know what I want to do with my life. It's like, okay, you don't have to get a degree, but do you have any ambition? You know, like what do you want to do? I think it's important.
Oh, I have another one. Sorry, I could go off on these.
Go ahead.
But
do it.
Optimism, I think, is so attractive.
Oh my gosh. Thank goodness.
If just like being around you, like, makes me feel good, like, I love that. Also, if you laugh a lot, especially if I make you laugh.
If she makes me laugh, are you kidding me?
I don't know what it is, but if I make you laugh, there's probably a better chance I'll be more attracted to you.
Yeah.
Because if
you want to feel good about yourself around the person, right? You want them to build you up, right. Like kind of like we talked about.
The way I see it, if you're waking up with a smile on your face, you're both doing something pretty well. So like, you just have to have that optimism and have to be like the bubbly fun kind of, you know, because otherwise, are you going to have fun when you hang out? No. So you got,
And if they're like that approachable and like loving, that's like even more attractive. They're like a ray of sunshine and just like really considerate. I think that just like the character, like kind of those traits as I've gotten older, especially maturity.
Yeah.
I think those are even more attractive now.
I think with that too is being real and like genuine. So like having that positive attitude and that's your natural self. But also if you're having a bad day, they're not necessarily like pushing it off. Being like, it's okay, you know? Because like, acknowledge that this is a hard thing for me. My wall is falling off.
Oh man!
I don't think it shows.
The wall's sad.
But yeah, like acknowledging the hard thing and comforting you. But then, you know, when you're ready, being like, okay, well, what's a solution? How can we get you out of this dark hole you're in right now? That's a big one for me. So like having that positivity and optimism. but also acknowledging when things are hard.
Very true. Very true.
Someone who's authentic.
Yeah, authentic.
You don't want to be so relentlessly optimistic, then people will start to think that you're like insane or that the situation's kind of like.
If you're having a bad day, tell me. Because otherwise, I'm not going to know. Yeah. And I could make it worse.
Okay, I have realized that sometimes the guys I've dated have no idea that I'm having a bad day. Because sometimes I'd be like, I'm just going to like pout about it.
Men have this talent to not think of anything. Like sometimes I'll be sitting in class and nothing's on my mind.
Really?
Like, okay. Girls are like, what are you thinking about? And I say nothing. I might be serious. So sometimes
I don't think I've ever experienced that phenomenon of thinking about nothing.
Yeah.
That is true.
I feel like I watched some kind of comedian that talked about how like men think in boxes and compartments. Have you seen that?
I explain that all the time.
And they're like, okay, I'm going to take out this box now. But girls are like, it's like wires all connected. Yeah. Everything's connected to each other.
It's true. It happens. So we have this nothing box. So sometimes
the nothing box.
We just don't notice because, I don't know, sometimes we're naive, but you just have to communicate that, right?
Like, I'm having a bad day. And then you'll be like, okay, let me comfort you.
Like, what can I do? And it's perfect.
Perfect. Okay, a big green flag for me is when someone is okay with admitting when they're wrong or when they mess up. Because huge. I feel like, I don't know, am probably still a perfectionist. And so I never wanted to admit when I was wrong. But I've been trying to work on that. And I've seen how it's benefited me. And also, like, friendships and relationships, being like, well, that was dumb of me, like I messed up, and then we could acknowledge it and move on instead of me like making up excuses or putting the blame on someone else when it obviously was me. I think that's a sign of maturity when people are that way. So I'm trying to work on that. I think it's great when guys are that way too.
That's a really good one. I think that makes you more likable as a person, because if you're like open to the mistakes that you make, like people are more likely to view you as an authentic person. You're like, oh, this kid doesn't think he's like a hot shot. He's like, whoa, he's not perfect, just like me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because no one listening to this podcast is perfect. Like, give me 5 minutes and I can think of like 10 flaws about each of you. And the same goes with me too. I'm not claiming perfect. But it's just, there's that importance of humility. I think that's it's really crucial.
Very true.
And I think it breaks the ice too, especially if you just do something embarrassing on a date. You're like, that was so embarrassing. You just say it, then there's like the pressure is gone, and then you feel like you don't have to be perfect on this date, and then you're more authentic. You really know the true selves. That's good.
I was on a date once, and we were going to see a movie, and no. You know how the movie theater's like, it's like zig, 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 So like you walk in, you turn a corner, then you walk up, like the ramp to get to the theater. So we were running late.
So you tripped.
And no, I was kind of like pushing her back. Like, come on, we're going to be late, right? And we turned in, and it was pitch black, did not turn up. But I pushed her straight into a wall, like face smack wall, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just totally pushed my date into a wall, and she just started laughing about it, and you know how like amazing that was, because I felt so bad, and she was like, just like, what are you trying to kill me? And I was like, it just made everything so much better. And she would have been like, and like not really knowing what to say, like it would have been like, I'm so sorry. And I would have felt terrible the
whole movie, you're just thinking about that moment.
So, like, the fact that she was, like, fun about it, like, even though I pushed her into a wall, like, she was genuine about it, and, like, it made everything okay.
Yeah.
Now imagine if she didn't react that way. How horrible the date would have gone.
Watching a movie, in the mid, I'm just thinking the whole time, like, oh my gosh, this girl's pissed. Like, she's not excited to be here.
So, yeah, just kind of like that chill vibe. Yeah. It's like, crap happens. Like,
I just got pushed into a wall. And then if, like, it works out later, you laugh about it later. Like, hey, remember our first date when you pushed me into a wall?
You're like, yeah, for bringing it up.
I still feel bad.
Maybe I meant it.
Exactly.
Yeah. You gotta laugh in the dating world. I feel like it could be too serious.
It's funny. Dating is fun. It should be fun.
It can be really awkward, but... make it fun.
You do. You do need
to
make
it genuine. Okay. Any last deal breakers, green flags?
That's it.
That's it.
There are many green flags.
There are more.
That's a good.
That's just sneak peek. If you want to know more, you just have to date me, I guess.
Give your Instagram.
Put my
tags.
Instagram. It's Peyton.Graham
_18.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much, seriously, for joining this podcast. This one was super fun. And
no problem.
I learned a lot. Hopefully, I don't have any of these red flags. If I do, I'll work on them.
That's what's up.
But yeah, thanks again for tuning into Kenna's Corner. Say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Make sure to like and subscribe.
That's what's up.
Please share.
Oh, yes.
Tell your friends.